Picture this. It's a Tuesday morning in the concrete parking lot of a high-end tech firm in Austin, Texas. A matte black Mercedes G-Wagon rolls in, and out steps Chad, $300 designer t-shirt, Rolex Submariner, effortless confidence. The kind of guy who doesn't just look successful, he expects you to notice. Chad makes about $120,000 a year. Sounds impressive until you look closer. Most of it disappears into his car payment, his luxury apartment, and the interest quietly stacking up on his credit cards. Chad looks like success. He's the guy ordering bottle service on weekends, posting it to Instagram with captions like, "Grind never stops." To anyone watching from the outside, Chad is winning the game. Now look 2 spaces over. A 2011 Honda Civic, slightly mismatched bumper, faded silver paint. Nothing about it stands out. That's Bob, faded Costco polo, discount New Balance sneakers, currently trying to remember if he locked his front door. His coworkers feel bad for him, quietly. They assume he's one unexpected bill away from a crisis. When the office orders lunch, they sometimes skip asking Bob just so he won't feel pressured to spend $25 on a salad. But here's what nobody knows. Bob has over $4 million sitting quietly in low-cost index funds. No mortgage. No debt. His kids' college is already paid for. If Bob's boss yells at him today, Bob can walk out that door and never come back. No stress, no panic. Chad is locked in, working for the next few decades just to maintain the image of being rich. Same parking lot. 2 completely different realities. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Glowlame. Today, we're breaking down one of the most powerful and most misunderstood financial strategies of our time, looking broke. Because the truth is, we've been completely lied to. Hollywood, Instagram, TikTok, they've spent years teaching us that rich people look like celebrities. Champagne, private jets, flashing lights. But the data tells a very different story. Studies like The Millionaire Next Door and recent consumer data show that most millionaires aren't driving 6-figure cars. They're driving cars that cost around $30,000. And a majority of high earners, they're in Fords, Toyotas, Hondas. Meanwhile, a surprising number of luxury cars are being financed by people who can barely afford them. People trading their future financial freedom for a few seconds of attention at a red light. One group looks wealthy, the other group is wealthy. And in today's world, those 2 groups almost never overlap. Real millionaires, they blend in. Suburban neighborhoods, local diners, plain clothes, nothing flashy, nothing loud. Because they've figured something out most people haven't. The loudest person in the room is usually the one carrying the most debt. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. So let's do something most people avoid. Let's do the math. Because numbers don't have an ego, and they definitely don't care about your social status. Imagine 2 paths. Path A. You lease a brand new luxury SUV. Between the payment, insurance, maintenance, and premium gas, it costs you about $1,200 a month. Every time you drive it, you feel good. You know people are noticing. At every stoplight, every parking lot, you're making an impression. Path B. You buy a reliable used sedan. Nothing flashy, nothing impressive. You pay it off quickly, and instead of spending that $1,200, you invest it every single month into a basic S&P 500 index fund. You drive that car for years. The paint fades, the excitement disappears, and eventually you stop caring what strangers think. Now fast forward 25 years. Same person, same income, just 2 different decisions. At an average 7% annual return, that $1,200 a month doesn't just sit there, it compounds. And that nice car? It didn't just cost you the sticker price. It cost you over $1 million. Let that sink in. That's $1 million you gave up just to look impressive in front of people you don't even know and probably don't even like. This is what economists describe as a status trap. You spend money you don't have to buy things you don't need, to impress people who aren't thinking about you. And when you step back, it's almost absurd. We sacrifice peace of mind to buy objects whose only real job is to convince other people that we have peace of mind. Now think about the psychology behind this. Over a century ago, sociologist Thorstein Veblen called this conspicuous consumption. People don't buy luxury goods for what they do. They buy them for what they signal. A $50,000 Rolex and a $50 Casio tell the exact same time. In fact, the Casio is probably more accurate. So what are you really paying for? Not function, not quality. You're paying for a message. I'm successful. I belong. I've made it. But here's the brutal irony. The stronger your need to send that signal, the harder it becomes to actually build wealth. Because every dollar spent on looking rich is a dollar that can't compound. And compounding is where real wealth comes from. This is why people like Mark Zuckerberg wear the same t-shirt every day, and why Warren Buffett still lives in a house he bought decades ago. It's not because they lack options. It's because they've already done the math. They understand something most people don't. Freedom is a far better asset than social approval. And once you truly understand that, your spending habits start to change. But the cost doesn't stop at money. Let's move past the math for a second and talk about something more uncomfortable: risk. Because in the modern world, looking rich doesn't just drain your bank account, it makes you visible. And visibility comes with a price. When you look wealthy, you don't just attract attention, you attract the wrong kind of attention. Cybercriminals, for example, don't target random people. They go after signals, luxury lifestyles, expensive cars, high-end vacations posted online. This is often called whaling, targeting individuals who appear to have significant assets. They track public information, piece together your digital footprint, and design highly personalized scams. Not mass emails, not obvious traps, precision attacks. And it's not just online. There's also something more subtle, almost invisible, a kind of unofficial wealth tax. Contractors, service providers, even small businesses constantly adjust pricing based on perception. Imagine a contractor pulling up to your house to give you a quote. He sees a luxury car in the driveway, a high-end neighborhood, signs of money. That number quietly goes up. Not because the materials cost more, not because the job changed, but because you look like you can pay more. This isn't always malicious, it's just human behavior. People charge based on what they think you're willing to spend. And when you look like money, you get treated like money. Warren Buffett once joked that he enjoyed looking ordinary because nobody tried to overcharge him, and there's truth in that. When you look average, you get the standard rate. When you look wealthy, you become a premium customer, whether you asked for it or not. And then there's something people rarely consider: how you're perceived at work. In many environments, perception shapes opportunity. If your boss thinks you're still building your life, paying off debt, working towards stability, they may see you as driven, hungry, worth investing in. But if you show up looking like you've already made it, that perception can shift. People start making assumptions. You don't need the raise. You don't need the bonus. You're already doing fine. And whether it's fair or not, those assumptions can influence real decisions, opportunities, promotions, visibility. This doesn't mean you should pretend to struggle, but it does highlight something important. Perception isn't neutral, and sometimes appearing modest gives you more flexibility than appearing wealthy. Because the ultimate leverage is not needing the job without advertising that you don't. Ultimately, what people now call stealth wealth or quiet luxury isn't just a trend, it's a shift in mindset. People are starting to realize that modern consumerism is a treadmill. You buy the luxury car, you get a rush for a few weeks, and then it becomes normal, the place where you spill your morning coffee. The expensive watch impresses someone for a few minutes, and then it's just something on your wrist you have to worry about scratching. Every visible purchase feels exciting at first, but over time, the return fades, while the cost to your future keeps compounding. Invisible wealth works differently. That growing net worth in your investment account doesn't fade. It doesn't lose its shine, and it doesn't require maintenance. Instead, it creates something much more valuable, a constant, quiet sense of security. It means knowing that if the economy slows down, if your company restructures, or if life throws something unexpected at you, you'll be fine. You stop worrying about small things because your foundation is solid, not built on appearances, but on real assets. True success isn't what you can buy, it's what you no longer have to buy. It's not the car in your driveway, it's the freedom behind it. It's the options you have, the stress you avoid, and the choices you're no longer forced to make. So the next time you see someone driving an old car or wearing plain clothes, don't feel sorry for them. Don't assume they missed out. They might be playing a completely different game, one where long-term growth matters more than short-term approval, one where security matters more than attention. They understand something most people don't. Money is not a performance, it's a tool to buy time, to reduce stress, and to create freedom. So stop trying to look rich to impress people who are struggling themselves. Start focusing on actually being rich in ways that don't need to be seen, because at the end of the day, wealth isn't about what you show the world, it's about what you keep. If you enjoyed this, make sure to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments, what's one thing you've stopped buying to build real wealth? I'll see you in the next one.